April 28, 1944, 6:40 a.m. Dover, England. A gray fog clings to the cliffs like a shroud. Below, the channel churns cold, restless, endless. Somewhere across that water, German radar stations are scanning the horizon, searching for the invasion that everyone knows is coming. But this morning, something is wrong. On a muddy field just outside Dover, hundreds of tanks sit in neat rows. Their steel hulls glisten with dew. Canvas-covered artillery lines the hedgerows, trucks idle, radios crackle, soldiers march between the vehicles. It looks like an army. It sounds like an army. But when the wind shifts, you notice something strange. The tanks don't move. Their treads are too clean, their barrels don't sway, their engines never roar. They're rubber. And across the channel, German reconnaissance aircraft are watching. You can almost feel the tension in Berlin. At the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht headquarters, intelligence officers pore over aerial photographs taken just hours earlier. The images show massive troop concentrations near the Pas-de-Calais, the shortest crossing point to England. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, commander of Army Group B and Hitler's hand-picked defender of Fortress Europe, studies the prints in silence. He taps one image with a gloved finger. There, he says, Patton. General George S. Patton, the most aggressive Allied commander, the man Rommel considers his most dangerous opponent, the tank general, the gambler, the butcher of Sicily. Rommel had faced the British in North Africa. He had fought Montgomery. He had learned their patterns. But Patton was different. Patton moved fast, too fast. He attacked where others hesitated. And now intelligence reports place him here in southern England, building the largest invasion force in history. Rommel nods slowly. This is the real army. The German High Command is convinced. So is Adolf Hitler. While Allied bombers pound rail yards and bridges across France, Hitler fixates on Calais. He orders his best panzer divisions, the 1st SS Panzer, the 12th Hitler Youth, Panzer Lehr, to hold position near the narrow strait. Normandy, he believes, is a feint, a distraction, a decoy. And that belief is about to cost him the war. May 15, 1944, southeast England. A young German pilot banks his Focke-Wulf over the Kent countryside. His camera clicks again and again. Below him, hundreds of landing craft, long rows of tents, tank parks stretching to the horizon, fuel depots, ammunition dumps, radio towers. He can almost feel the invasion forming beneath his wings. But he doesn't know that the landing craft are made of wood. The tanks are rubber. The radios broadcast fake chatter written by Allied playwrights. He doesn't know that the army he's photographing doesn't exist. It's called FUSAG, the 1st United States Army Group. Its commander, General George S. Patton. Except Patton is nowhere near Dover. He's in a farmhouse in Sussex, forbidden to leave, forbidden to speak to the press, forbidden to command. Because his reputation is doing the fighting for him. Operation Fortitude is the greatest deception in military history. Double agents feed Berlin fake invasion dates. Fake supply convoys drive in circles to create dust clouds visible from the air. Fake hospitals fill with inflatable casualties. Even the radio traffic is staged, operators sending coded nonsense in Patton's voice. Every detail crafted to tell the Germans exactly what they want to hear. Rommel believes it. Hitler believes it. The entire German High Command believes it. And while they stare at Dover, the real invasion force is assembling 150 miles west. June 5, 1944, La Roche-Guyon, France. Rommel's headquarters is unusually quiet. The field marshal stands by a window overlooking the Seine. Rain taps against the glass. The weather is miserable, high winds, rough seas. No invasion today, he thinks. No general would land troops in this. Satisfied, Rommel turns to his staff. I'm leaving for Germany, he says. My wife's birthday. I'll return in 2 days. His car is waiting. June 6, 1944, 6:30 a.m. Normandy coast. The sea explodes. Battleship guns tear into the cliffs. Destroyers rake the beaches. Thousands of Allied soldiers storm ashore under machine gun fire. Utah Omaha, Gold Juno Sword. The largest amphibious invasion in history has begun. And Rommel is not there. At first, Berlin refuses to believe it. This is not the main invasion, Hitler says. Patton has not moved. German commanders request permission to deploy panzer divisions from Calais to Normandy. Hitler refuses. It's a diversion, he insists. The real blow will fall at Calais. So the tanks stay where they are, waiting for an army made of rubber. In Normandy, American soldiers claw through hedgerows under artillery fire. British paratroopers hold bridges by the skin of their teeth. Entire battalions are wiped out on Omaha Beach. But they keep coming. Every hour more ships, more men, more guns. And still Hitler waits for Patton. June 17, 1944, Berlin. Rommel returns from Germany and is rushed into a briefing. Maps cover the walls. Red pins mark the Allied beachhead, now stretching for miles. Rommel stares at them. They're still calling it a diversion, he asks. A general clears his throat. Yes, Main Feldmarschall. The Führer believes Patton will strike at Calais. Rommel slams his fist onto the table. Then the Führer is wrong. For the first time, doubt creeps in. Rommel had built the Atlantic Wall. He had seeded the beaches with mines. He had warned Berlin that the first 24 hours would decide the war in the West. And now the Allies are ashore. Deeper. And growing stronger by the day. He turns back to the window. Somewhere out there, Patton is still invisible. And the ghost army is still doing its job. But Rommel is beginning to sense the truth. And when he finally sees it clearly, it will already be too late. June 20, 1944, La Roche-Guyon, France, Rommel's headquarters. The air inside the stone chateau is thick with cigarette smoke and tension. Maps cover every wall. Red pins multiply by the hour. Blue arrows push inland from the Normandy beaches like a rising tide. Rommel stands over a long oak table, sleeves rolled up, jaw clenched. His chief of staff, General Hans Spadel, waits beside him with a stack of intercepted Allied radio transmissions. Rommel doesn't look up. Still nothing from Patton. Spadel shakes his head. No movement, no embarkation, no radio silence. The First Army Group remains in Kent. Rommel exhales slowly. That is what troubles him. Patton should have moved by now. If Normandy were only a feint, the real blow should already be falling at Calais. The channel is calm. The weather is perfect. The narrow crossing would be irresistible. And yet, nothing. Rommel walks to the window and looks out over the river. British and Canadian troops are already pushing south of Caen. American forces are grinding through the bocage west of Cairnton. The beachhead is no longer fragile. It is becoming an army. A real one. Rommel speaks quietly. This is no diversion. Spadel looks up. My Field Marshal. Rommel turns. This is the invasion. The room falls silent. Across France, German defenses are buckling. The 352nd Infantry Division is shattered. Panzer Lehr has lost over half its tanks to Allied air power. Every road is cratered, every bridge destroyed. Fuel is running out. Ammunition is delayed. And above it all, the sky belongs to the Allies. Every time a German column moves, thunderbolts descend from the clouds. Typhoons scream in low over the hedgerows, rockets flashing. Rommel had warned Berlin of this. He had begged for the panzer divisions to be placed near the beaches. He had pleaded for authority to counterattack without waiting for Hitler's permission. He was ignored. Now he watches the consequences unfold in real time. June 22, 1944, Berlin. Rommel stands before Adolf Hitler in the Wolf's Lair. The Führer's hands tremble, his eyes burn with obsession. Rommel does not waste words. "We are losing France," he says. Hitler bristles. "Patton has not attacked." Rommel leans forward. "Because Patton is not there." Silence. "The army in Kent is a phantom, a deception. There will be no second invasion. Normandy is the main effort." Hitler stares at him. For a moment, no one breathes. Then Hitler turns away. "You are mistaken." Rommel leaves the bunker knowing the truth. Germany has been outplayed, outwitted, and outmaneuvered. The greatest deception operation in history has done its job. June 25, 1944, Normandy. American artillery pounds the hedgerows. Sherman tanks push through narrow lanes, infantry clinging to their sides. German anti-tank guns fire from hidden positions, but Allied fighter-bombers answer within minutes. The battlefield has become a furnace. Rommel to the front in his staff car. Dust coats his goggles. Explosions walk across the fields. He watches a Panther tank erupt in flames after a rocket strike. The crew never escapes. "This war is lost," he says quietly. Spadel hears him, but says nothing. Then the reports arrive. Intercepted transmissions, intelligence summaries, prisoner interrogations. Patton is no longer in England. Patton is in France, but not in Normandy. July 1, 1944. Rommel reads the briefing twice, then a third time. The Americans have broken through at Cherbourg. Another army is assembling in Brittany. Supply depots are pouring ashore. Fuel dumps stretch for miles. And somewhere to the south, a new force is forming, commanded by Patton. Rommel finally understands. The Ghost Army wasn't meant to stop the invasion. It was meant to delay the response. And that delay has given the Allies everything they needed. Time. He slams the report onto the table. "Where is he?" Rommel demands. Spadel answers. "General Patton landed with the Third Army. They are assembling near Avranches." Rommel's eyes narrow. Avranches. The gateway out of Normandy. The door to open country. The road to Paris. Rommel had fought Patton before in North Africa. He remembers Kasserine, the chaos, the speed, the relentless pressure. Patton did not maneuver slowly. Patton punched through. And once he broke free, he never stopped. Rommel turns to his staff. If Patton breaks out of Normandy, France is finished. No one argues. July 17, 1944. Rommel's car speeds down a narrow road near Liverat. A British Spitfire dives from the clouds. The cannon fire shreds the vehicle. Rommel is thrown into a ditch. His skull fractured. His war is over. 2 weeks later, Patton's tanks roll. Operation Cobra. The American breakout. The hedgerows explode under carpet bombing. German lines disintegrate. Sherman columns surge through the gaps like floodwater. The door Rommel feared is blown wide open. And now nothing stands between Patton and the heart of France. But Rommel will never see what comes next. He will never witness the consequences of the Ghost Army's deception. He will never watch the man he feared most drive straight through Hitler's western defenses. Because now, the real army is moving, and Patton is finally unleashed. July 25, 1944, 9:38 a.m. Saint-Lô, Normandy. The sky turns black. More than 1,500 American bombers roar overhead in tight formation, stretching from horizon to horizon. The ground trembles. The air itself seems to tear apart. Then the bombs fall. The German front line disappears beneath a rolling wall of fire. Entire hedgerows are lifted into the air. Tanks flip like toys. Bunkers collapse. Roads vanish. Operation Cobra has begun. For weeks, the Allied armies have been trapped inside the Norman hedgerows, narrow lanes bordered by earthen walls and tangled roots. Perfect killing grounds for German machine guns and anti-tank guns. Now the Americans are done fighting for every yard. They are about to break free. At the edge of the blast zone, Lieutenant General Omar Bradley watches through binoculars. Behind him, engines idle. Hundreds of Sherman tanks. Thousands of trucks. Columns of infantry. All waiting. Bradley lowers the glasses. "Release Patton," he says. July 26, 1944, near Avranches. The dust rises first. Then the sound. Engines, thousands of them. A mechanical thunder that rolls across the countryside. From the gaps torn open by the bombers, American armor pours through. Sherman columns stretch for miles. Half-tracks bounce over shattered roads. Fuel trucks race to keep up. And at the head of it all, George S. Patton, standing in the turret of his command tank. Helmet polished, ivory-handled pistols on his hips, scarf fluttering in the wind. He has waited for this moment for over a year. Now he finally has his war. Patton wastes no time. He does not pause to secure flanks. He does not wait for supply lines to catch up. He does not consolidate. He drives. South toward Brittany, east toward Paris, north toward the trapped German armies. His doctrine is simple. Attack, attack, and keep on attacking. German resistance collapses. Panzer units scramble to respond but find nothing to hit. Patton's columns move too fast. By the time German orders arrive, the Americans are already 30 miles away. Fuel dumps are captured intact. Rail yards fall overnight. Entire garrisons surrender without a fight. The front dissolves. August 1, 1944. The Third Army is officially activated. And Patton explodes across France. In Berlin, the reports read like hallucinations. American tanks in Rennes. American tanks in Le Mans. American tanks in Angers. Distances that should take weeks are covered in days. The German command cannot track him. They cannot stop him. They can barely understand what is happening. August 7, 1944. Hitler orders a counterattack. Operation Luttich. His last throw of the dice. 4 panzer divisions smash into the American flank near Mortain, hopping to cut Patton off from his supply lines. They never get the chance. Allied air power annihilates them. Typhoons and thunderbolts descend like executioners. German columns burn on the roads. The counterattack disintegrates in 48 hours. The trap is closing. To the north, Montgomery drives south. To the south, Patton races east. Between them, the German 7th Army and 5th Panzer Army are being squeezed into a pocket near Falaise. Rommel would have seen it coming. He would have ordered a withdrawal. But Rommel is gone, and Hitler forbids retreat. August 16, 1944, Falaise pocket. German soldiers stream down the roads, wounded, starving, exhausted. Horses pull shattered artillery. Tanks without fuel are abandoned in ditches. The sky belongs to the Allies. Every bridge is destroyed. Every crossing is bombed. The pocket shrinks by the hour. Patton's XV Corps punches north. Canadian and Polish divisions push south. The jaws close. Inside the pocket it is hell. Burning vehicles block the roads. Dead men lie where they fell. The stench of fuel and flesh hangs in the air. German officers try to rally their men. It is useless. The war in France is ending. August 21st, 1944. The Falaise pocket is sealed. More than 50,000 German troops are captured. Thousands of vehicles are destroyed. The German army in the west is shattered. Patton stands on a ridge overlooking the battlefield. Wreckage stretches as far as the eye can see. "This is what happens," he says, "when you let me loose." Paris will fall days later. The Seine will be crossed. The Allies will race for the German border. And all of it, every mile, every victory, traces back to a single decision made months earlier. To an army that never existed. To tanks made of rubber. To a deception so perfect that it froze the most powerful army in Europe in place. Rommel had seen it in the end. He had understood the truth. But by the time he did, Patton was already moving. And once Patton started moving, there was no stopping him. But the most dangerous moment of the war still lies ahead. Because now the road leads straight to Germany. And Hitler is preparing his final, desperate gamble. September 7, 1944, near the Moselle River, eastern France. The rain turns the road into sludge. Patton's command car fishtails through the mud, splattering officers and infantry alike as it roars past. Sherman tanks grind forward in long columns, their engines coughing black smoke into the gray sky. The smell of wet earth and diesel hangs in the air. Ahead lies the German frontier. And Patton can almost taste it. The Third Army has crossed France in 5 weeks. 5 weeks. A distance that took the German Wehrmacht 2 years to conquer. French villagers line the roads, waving flags, crying, throwing flowers onto the tanks. Some climb onto the Shermans, kissing the crews through open hatches. Patton barely notices. His eyes are fixed east. On Germany. But now the war changes. The open roads of France give way to rivers, fortresses, and minefields. The Germans are no longer retreating in panic. They are digging in. The Siegfried Line waits. Dragon's teeth, concrete bunkers, interlocking machine gun nests, kill zones measured to the meter. And behind it, the last reserves of Hitler's Reich. At Third Army headquarters, Patton studies the map. The Moselle River cuts across his path like a blade. German artillery zeroes every crossing. Bridges are blown the moment American engineers reach them. His staff urges caution. Patton shakes his head. Wars are not won by caution. September 8, 1944, Dornat. Under covering fire, American infantry rush the riverbanks. Engineers launch assault boats into the current. German shells crash into the water, throwing geysers of mud and smoke. Men disappear. Boats flip. The river turns red. But they keep coming. By nightfall, a bridgehead is secured. The Third Army is across. The Germans counterattack at dawn. Panzer grenadiers charge through the fog. Mortars pound the riverbank. Machine guns rake the trenches. Patton drives to the front personally. He stands in the open, watching the battle through binoculars as shells burst around him. An aide shouts for him to take cover. Patton doesn't move. "They won't hit me," he says. "They're aiming at the men who are afraid." The bridgehead holds. And once again, Patton breaks through. In Berlin, the mood is apocalyptic. The Allied armies are at the borders of the Reich. The Luftwaffe is finished. The Kriegsmarine is sunk. The factories are rubble. Hitler retreats into fantasies. Miracle weapons. Secret armies. A final blow that will shatter the Allies and force them to negotiate. The generals know better. but no one dares to say it. October 1944. Patton reaches the Saar. American artillery pounds the Siegfried Line. Engineers blast gaps in the Dragon's teeth. Infantry crawl forward under machine gun fire. The Reich is bleeding, and Hitler is preparing his last throw of the dice. In a forest in western Germany, panzer divisions gather in silence. The 6th SS Panzer Army, the 5th Panzer Army, fresh tanks, hidden fuel dumps, new assault guns. Orders sealed until the last moment. The target is not Patton. It is the Ardennes. December 16, 1944. The forest explodes. German artillery smashes into American lines. Panzer columns surge out of the trees. Snow falls over burning villages. The Battle of the Bulge has begun. In Luxembourg, Patton is in a staff meeting when the call comes. The Germans have broken through. Bastogne is surrounded. The front is collapsing. Patton listens in silence. Then he smiles. "Gentlemen," he says, "we're going to turn north." His staff stares at him. The Third Army is facing east. The Germans are attacking to the north. The roads are frozen. The weather is brutal. Patton doesn't care. "How long will it take you to pivot 3 corps 90 degrees in winter?" he asks. His operations officer swallows. 3 days, sir." Patton shakes his head. "Try 2. And once again. The impossible becomes inevitable. Because Patton never stops. And when he moves, history moves with him. Rommel is long dead by now. Forced to take poison after the July 20th plot against Hitler. The man who saw the truth too late. The commander who warned Berlin of everything that would come. He never lived to see Patton's final charge. But his shadow hangs over every mile of road. Every broken panzer. Every shattered German line. From the beaches of Normandy to the heart of Germany, the Ghost Army's deception opened the door. And Patton kicked it down. And